Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here again. Thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to tune in today. And today I'm joined by speaker, holistic life coach, massage therapist, and writer Blanca Rodriguez, who's here to discuss a variety of topics related to her incredible journey that led her to a number of things, not least of which are holistic healing and a life of giving. Blanca is the owner and CEO of Wounded Healer LLC, where she has practiced massage therapy for almost 20 years and has been a certified canine massage therapist for almost 10 years. Blanca is also a fitness instructor for people 55 years and older, is a speaker, is a podcaster, and best-selling author of the book Impact Leadership, as well as being a holistic life coach. She's a member and mentor at the American Massage Therapy Association, a member, mentor, and vice president of public relations of Talking Heads of Stewart Toastmasters, a member, mentor, and vice president of public relations for the Puerto Rico Toastmasters Club, which is bilingual, and a member of the Treasure Coast Advanced Toastmasters. Blanca is fluent in both English and Spanish. I think we're going to stick mostly to the English today just to help me out. Blanca also volunteers in her spare time, if you can believe that she has any of that, on different platforms such as the Inner Truth Project, helping sexual violence survivors, the Pet Cottage, dedicated to giving permanent housing to senior dogs who have lost their human companion due to death or deployment, and the Humane Society of St. Lucia County, a no-kill animal shelter. What an incredible bio, Blanca. Thank you very, very much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Gary. It's a joy and an honor to be here. What a wonderful thing this is. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to start with a little bit of information on your personal journey. When we had an opportunity to connect prior to recording today, I was so struck by your story, by your openness, by your transformation from what has happened in your life and how you've taken that and used that for all of the good that you do. So can you share a bit about your journey and the key experiences that have led you to becoming a holistic life coach and massage therapist and the other things that you're involved in, please?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Gary. I was born in New York City. I have Puerto Rican parents. They were so-called immigrants. They moved to the United States in search for the American dream. My beloved father, he was very successful at achieving his American dream. He was a business owner for apartment buildings and the two businesses that he had until tragedy struck. When I was 8 years old, his life was taken when in his place of business, out of all places, in the place that where he wanted to provide for his family. And after that, life definitely was never the same again. It was the obvious. My poor mother, she went down the rabbit hole of extreme depression and she never recovered from it. So after my father's tragic passing, we were raised in an environment where you don't talk about the dead. You
Mm.
don't talk about painful experiences that we had in life. I am the youngest of three siblings. So all I heard around me was, oh, she's a little kid. She doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. So my grieving process and my mourning process with my father was I was lonely, isolated. I felt neglect. I felt abandonment because I had nobody to grieve my father, nobody to mourn this tremendous loss because my father was my favorite person in the world. And after that, I definitely developed a lot of anger and low self-esteem, low self-worth, self-sabotaging issues because of lack of significance that I had in my life. And it started at home. Unfortunately, my mother had chronic untreated mental illness for most of her entire life. And it was the time, because this was the 70s. So it was a time when mental illnesses were taboo. You throw it under the rug, you don't talk about it because it means that your life is over, basically. And my mother was very scared and terrified of falling into that category of her life is over, because she was a single mom, a widowed, raising three kids. And definitely my mother, in her mental illness and the confusion, in the instability, because we were in a very unstable environment due to the fact that my mother was mentally chronically ill. It was unstable, it was dirty, my mother was a hoarder, and that really took me down that rabbit hole of insecurity. Nobody cares. Nobody's there for me. And yes, my mother had her loving moments, of course, and the good in her will come out, but it was overshadowed by her darkness, unfortunately. And then I lost my father at 8 years old, and at 9 years old, I was sexually assaulted for the first time. Of course, I kept my mouth shut. I live in silence and in silence and in silence because of shame, because nobody will believe me, because my word doesn't matter. I heard many, many times, oh, you talk when the chickens pee. And it's like, well, how demeaning is that? How humiliating is that? And that kept building up my insecurities. It kept building up my low self-esteem, low self-worth, and of course, self-sabotage followed immediately. And especially after I was sexually assaulted for the first time, I was a 9-year-old girl that I had no comprehension of what any of this meant. And of course, just like with my father's passing, I had nobody to turn to. I had nobody for support. So I was trying to survive these terrible dark moments on my own, and that really took me into a world of doing very, very wrong decisions, like over drinking, like doing drugs, like trying to sugarcoat with a drug problem, an alcohol problem. And I thought that in my little world, I just had it all figured out because I was functional. I went to school, I had my independence, I had my own apartment. But my demons were there. The skeletons were in that closet and they were banging on that door to come out. After that, I become a mother, and that changed everything. It was time for me to get out of my shell. It was time for me to stop being the victim of the situation, stop the pity party, stop blaming the world for my actions. And it was time to embark on a mission that it was bigger than myself. And motherhood brought all of this wonderful chances for do better in life. That restart button was hit right there because I gave birth. I didn't give life to my kids. They gave me a chance, a second chance in building a better life for myself. And they were my inspiration, obviously. And from then on, I was in my 30s. I kept on growing little by little, going to counseling, but I was pretty inconsistent when it came to going to counseling and seeking help, because then again, I thought I could do everything on my own because I tried to do everything on my own anyway, and it really doesn't work that way. It does. I mean, the more we try to do things on our own, the worse it can be and the worse the pressure is, definitely. So yeah, after that, I went back to school for massage therapy at age 38. I decided to do a whole 180-degree turn of my life. And it's like, no, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to do something really significant here. I love helping people. I've been in the helping industry for a long time. I was a server. I was a travel agent. I was an administrative assistant. So I did many things to help others. And it was the time to do something really, really significant in my life. And it was really help others improve their quality of life through massage therapy. I've been doing massage therapy for 20 years, and little did I know that with massage therapy, it will open a huge door to new possibilities in life, to new inspiration in life. And I didn't know what holistic life coaching was, but now that I look back, I've been life coaching people since I started my career as a massage therapist, because people will ask me for advice and I will give them a good advice in the best of my ability. And that was one of those things that just, it came together and it was flawless. And once I had a life coach myself and understood that I don't go without a life coach ever again in my life, because it's that powerful, because it's that important in my life, because it keeps me grounding. I have accountability partnering all the time. This person keeps me on track with the goals that I have. I said, I have to do this for a living as well. I want to get certified. So that is one of the aha moments that took me to better things to come, for that mission to expand even further, to that bubble to get even bigger. And it has become, out of all of these very negative, very difficult seasons in my life, that they were so dark for so long, my silence, I was 47 years in silence. And it took a chapter in a book to open up. I opened up in a huge way. This opportunity showed up. You want to say a compelling story? Do you have a compelling story? Heck yeah, I have a compelling story. And it was a story of silence, shame, disgust, self-sabotage, and making it through the other side, hitting that restart button, because we are all capable of change. We're changing from the moment of conception to the moment of our passing. We are changing all throughout all of our lives. We are not into this mentality, oh, you cannot teach an old dog a new trick. We're not dogs. I adore my dogs. I'm a canine massage therapist, but we are human. In this human experience, we are all capable of change, and change has been the biggest blessing for me. It's been a miracle in my life, and we cannot keep on defining ourselves because of what happened before, because then we go into this vicious circle of the never-ending vicious circle and never getting out of it. And no, there's new probabilities, new possibilities. Let's grow up. Let's stop blaming others for our actions. That's very important. Let's go revisit. Let's get out of that comfort zone where we used to be, that it wasn't comfortable at all, and work our way through our insecurities and everything negative that has been going in our lives. And that definitely was my inspiration and my mission for the rest of my life, to help others improve their quality of life, no matter what age they are. This transformation, it started in my 40s, and here I am, 58 years old. I'm in the middle of my menopause and still working on it, because life is about progress, not perfection. And this is why we are here. This is why you are here. This is why I am here, to help others understand it. It's like, you know what? I've been there, I done that, and now I am here, no matter what age we are. I think I went down a rabbit hole here.
No, you did not. That's a fantastic journey. One of the things that really resonated with me when you were saying it earlier was, in your earlier stages, going through the trauma that you went through, was lack of significance. And that's not a thing that I normally hear when it's associated with trauma. It's not wording that people would typically use. Where would you say the lack of significance came from, and where are you at now in terms of your significance journey?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The lack of significance, it started upon my father's death and my mother's actions after my father's death. And let's be real here. Research has shown that 2/3 of all children in the planet will experience a traumatic a traumatic experience by the time they are 16 years old, whether it is the tragic passing of a loved one, being bullied by family members and at school, or assault. I experienced all of them by the time I was 9 years old. So the lack of significance, it was due to neglect, due to throwing situations under the rug, due to chronic mental illnesses. I grew up around this confusion, this ball of confusion of chronic mental illnesses that went untreated. Here we go again. You don't talk about these things because it's too painful, because you throw it under the rug. And of course, I felt that my words didn't matter, that I didn't matter, that I wasn't significant to others, starting with the second most important person in my life at that time, which was my mother. And I was surrounded by a lot of darkness, a lot of negativity, I mean, my mother was a hoarder. I live in a home that it was infested with roaches. I've been with post-traumatic stress disorder with roaches for a very long time, very, very long time, since I was a little kid, because of the very, very dirty environment that we were at. And it was due to my mother's hoarding, which was due to her mental illness. And she was chronic, chronic, chronic. And we went into forgiveness mode a long time ago, but definitely my lack of significance, it started at home. Unfortunately, it starts at home with so many others, and all the way, it takes us all the way to our childhood. But then when it's time to change, it's time to change. And we cannot continuously be repeating this generational trauma that comes from way before, because my mother was carrying her own trauma, which led to her chronic mental illness, which led to her manipulation, which led to her aggressiveness and her neglect as well. So here it was. I mean, I was in this ball around this hurricane of confusion and feeling neglected, and of course the most important thing, feeling that I didn't matter. And this is when the lack of significance really, really took hold of me for a very, very long time, until it came the time to say, no, we are turning this around, and the narrative is going to change. And it has to start with me. I cannot be saying, oh, my mom did this and did that. Yeah, I mean, she influenced, of course, a lot on my trauma, but it was time to take matters into my own hands for me.
Yes.
Not for nobody. I was looking for something in the outside, when all I had to do is look in the mirror. And the mirror was my enemy. I couldn't bear myself to look in the mirror, even though I've been a professional dancer for so long. I only like what I saw in the mirror when I was dancing, and I was focused on that moment. But take a good, close, long look at the mirror, that was not my thing. I will always look the other way and look the other way, until it was time to take a good look in the mirror, to say to that woman right in front of me, hey, you've been through a lot in this life, and I congratulate you for still being here today, because I could have gone easily the other way and not be here with you right now having this conversation. And that's when my lack of significance started becoming on something very significant in my life, which is self-discovery, self-love, being mindful, awareness, helping others through my story. How significant can that be? God put me in this earth, and all of these things that happened to me, it has always been a reasoning there. And it all came together, and it's like, okay, now I understand. And the more I keep on learning the lessons, the more I can help others with my story, with where I am at now, where I am going in my life, helping to build even a stronger relationship with my now husband, with my amazing two kids that they're full-blown adults now. How beautiful is that to keep on growing for myself, with them, and for them? It's a beautiful thing. And this is when the significance level started to go up and up and up. And it's like, wow, right here, right now, I'm doing something so significant, which is helping the listeners, whoever it is out there, with a similar story from mine, say, hey, maybe I have a chance to hit that restart button myself, even though I'm 62 or 75 or 22. So yeah, this is, I mean, this is very, very significant in my life, and I'm very glad and grateful for it all. It's amazing to be in that level of, okay, I have really made peace with myself, and of course with others, starting with my own mother that I absolutely love,
Yeah.
definitely, no matter what.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier the catalyst of your first child being born and that opportunity to take stock. I believe that psychologists call it intergenerational buffering,
Mhm.
where one generation to the next generation says, stop. Let's not continue this practice. It's not serving us. It's not going to serve us going forward. Was that the pivotal moment for you, or were there a series of moments that were leading up to that event?
It was really a combination of them both. This generational trauma, I really made it a mission of breaking that cycle. And it was time. And I don't know how many generations before me carried this trauma, this neglect, abandonment, abuse. And my mother was raised in extreme poverty, so she was malnourished. She was in extreme poverty, and the lack of significance that she had in her life was staggering. And this is what she brought, whatever she brought to the table is the lack of basic human needs that she had. It was lack of certainty, lack of significance, lack of being meaningful in someone's life, because she came from a huge family, 9 brothers and sisters, extreme poverty. My grandmother did whatever she could with the little tools that she had, but she was basically on her own, left to her own devices. And this is when my generation came in, that I was left to my own devices upon the death of my father. But the time came, and it's like, no, this ends here. I've been through the trauma. I've been through the sexual assault. I've been through many, many ugly moments in my life, but that's not going to keep on defining the human being that I'm meant to be, the growth within me, because we are meant to grow. And this is another basic human need, growth. Growth is so important. Change is vital, pivotal for us to have better quality of life. It's a full circle of better things to come, instead of drowning in this past that really doesn't serve me anymore, in drowning in negativity. But yes, it serves me in a way that it enables me to help others,
Yeah.
make it better for yourself. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm very grateful for it all, definitely, Gary. I mean, it's like the time of regret. The time is like, oh, if I did this differently, what would I then? I went through all the what if. I went through all of those stages for a very long time, and it was extremely redundant. It was time to move on and let the changes happen, let the evolution happen, and let growth be a beautiful thing. And it was about time, and I'm very thankful for it, definitely.
Yes, being aware enough and open enough to the opportunity, to the growth, to, understanding and appreciating that you deserve it first and
Mhm.
foremost, and then manifesting that into the opportunity to give. Not everyone does that, and that's okay. Not everyone's journey is to give back. Their journey could be
Absolutely.
healing, and it kind of stops
Mhm.
with them. So let's talk about the holistic healing work. As a holistic life coach and accompanying massage therapist. And I loved what you said earlier about, you realize that you were coaching for 20 years because as a massage therapist, you're in the self-healing industry with people, where they're sharing, various factors of their life that are contributing to the circumstances that have gotten them to your table. But what are some, would you say, are some of the common misconceptions about holistic practices and trauma recovery?
Yes, the common misconceptions of any time of recovery, whether it is holistic or in the Western medicine world, is that something is going to fix you up
Yeah.
and it's going to be like a magic wand. Oh, this is going to fix me up and you're going to fix me up. Nobody fixes you up. You fix you.
Yeah.
And self-care is the best care. And how do we take better care of ourselves? By exercising gratitude, because this is part of a whole. This is why it's a holistic approach to our healing journey.
Yeah.
What happens within us emotionally and mentally is directly and hand in hand with what happens to us physically. There is this body, mind, and spirit connection that is real, is a fact, is not an illusion. It's not, oh, these people are crazy. No, we are not crazy. It's a fact. What your emotions, what you are going through emotionally, it has a direct effect on your anatomy and physiology. Example, you are stressed. What happens when you're stressed? Heart palpitations, you shallow breath, and of course, your shoulders start going up to the ceiling. And you're in this state of tension. And then you calm down. Then you use breathing techniques. Then you pray. Then you use guided meditation. I have a great teacher of mine that he says, praying is talking to God and meditation is listening to God. I found that absolutely beautiful. I do pray, but the most of my prayer is being thankful, being thankful. And when we are thankful, we have a better state of mind. We have more clarity of mind. The happy chemicals of our bodies, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, these levels start going up, and your cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, starts going down. Big example is with one session of massage, your cortisol levels go down 31% and your serotonin and endorphin levels go up 30%. So with one session alone, your body gets in a state of calm, in a state of being happy, in a state of feeling better. But on the other hand, you get off the table, you run out the door, and you start fighting with someone. What's going to happen? Your cortisol levels are going to go straight up, and your massage basically will be good for nothing. So we got to be very, very mindful. And this is the holistic approach. And no, in no way I'm saying don't have this medication, because if you really need a medication for something that is important, hey, this is your choice. This is a very individual thing. But you can really combine your medication. I have had a lot of people with mental illnesses, with PTSD, people, army people in the armed forces that they go on tours to Afghanistan and their lives are never the same again because of the trauma they endured. So what happens? I have many of clients like that they have their medication for their anxiety, for the PTSD, but then they go get a massage so physically they can calm down even more, and it helps them tremendously. Breathing exercises. How important is breathing in our lives, and how much of a great effect just breathing alone can do for us. We cannot be without breathing, because if we don't breathe, we're dead.
Yeah.
So and this is when there are so many powerful types of breathing, like the belly breathing, that diaphragmatic breathing, the box breathing, that you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds. You do this 3 times, your brain processes things better in order of threes. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
The lion's roar breath that is used in yoga a lot is phenomenal, phenomenal to let out that energy that doesn't serve you any well. So this is when holistic approach to our life, to me, it has worked wonders in my life, and I'm very happy to be a helper in this sense, because it's not only about what I do for a living. I gotta apply these practices if I really mean what I'm saying. And I promise you all out there, in every single day of my life, this is what I practice. I practice gratitude when I get up in the morning. I do my meditation, I do my stretchings, because I'm a massage therapist. I have to get this body warmed up for to be able to perform a massage in the best of my ability to my clients, and not really damage my own body because I didn't do anything about it, because I just did this. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go to work, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. And yeah, I mean, we get tired, but the more these good practices of self-care, the better off we will be. And what happens when we want to avoid certain things physically? We want to avoid sicknesses, we want to avoid high blood pressure. Prevention, and starting with something as simple of practicing good breathing can make a big difference in your life, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's so great to emphasize the holistic part. It's not just one quick fix that's going to
Exactly.
solve absolutely everything. I remember the very first massage I ever had in my life back home in Paisley, from a friend, and afterwards I was kind of, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I was just waiting for some sort of epiphany, some sort of life experience to happen to say, oh, this is the best thing ever. And it was
Mhm.
over time that I realized that that's just one of a number of things that would have to happen in order for life change to actually take hold
Mhm.
and give me a better experience going forward. I guess probably I was a wee bit disappointed, but it wasn't because it was a bad massage at all.
Yeah,
It was just my expectations were
exactly.
completely out of whack. So in terms of your community involvement, that from your bio, that was something so prevalent in terms of how you spend your time and what you're trying to do with your time in terms of enhancing community experience. And you have a variety of different things that you do, which is fantastic and so
Mhm.
generous of you. How do these activities complement your professional work, and what impact have they had on you and your own continuous healing journey?
I'm a helper. I love to help. It makes me happy to help. And when this comes from the bottom of my soul and from the heart, it's really, things are not really only about the money. And when I cooperate and help others feel better, like volunteering with the Inner Truth Project, this is for sexual assault survivors. I'm a survivor myself, and I would have loved, when I had my experience for the first time, to have that help that I provide. So in a big way, I am channeling what I lacked of at that time. And for many years of my life, I am very enthusiastic of contributing to their healing, to their growth, to understanding that, don't worry, you're in a safe place here and no harm will come to you. That is very dear to my heart. And I am working with a gentleman that he is a sexual assault survivor himself. And this is a whole different ball game, because we tend to relate more to women being victims and sexual assault survivors when there's so many men out there. They live in a world of silence, of shame, of guilt because they were sexually assaulted as well. And to cope with something like that that is so stigmatized, it's like, oh no, men don't go through this. Oh my goodness, you ha. Don't underestimate that, because I know a lot of men that have gone through that trauma and they survived it on their own because of shame. And I relate to that. I was there myself for a very long time. So that is a new aspect of this beautiful center that I absolutely love. It's a beautiful work of love that everybody does there. Nobody gets paid a penny to do what they do. This is all a labor of that comes out of our heart, because we do relate. We've been there. We know how it feels. And that is the biggest contribution that I can give. And of course, I adore my dogs. I grew up around dogs, and the love of a dog, there's nothing like a love of an animal. Nothing, nothing. No human has the capacity to love the way an animal loves us. So yes, it's very important to me to help other animals with their grief, with the loss of their human companion, especially the older animals. When I did my internship to get certified as a canine massage therapist, I went to a no-kill shelter where they were neglected, abused, abandoned, and the environment is chaotic, is terrible. But these animals, they receive what I gave with love. There
Yeah.
was nothing but love. And that is a huge lesson of, okay, the more I contribute, the more I help, the better I feel. This is one of the 6 basic human needs that us humans have, is growth and contribution. And when we contribute without expecting anything in return, that's when growth happens. That's when evolution happens. They come hand in hand. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. I am so happy, blessed, and honored to go to these places every single time I can and do my best to help out in any single way, just by talking to someone, or by a lot of women, by these women regaining their sense of security back by receiving touch from someone. That is a big, big deal. So yes, that is why it's so important for me. And giving, the best gift is the one of giving. And this is very meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of stigmas, surrounding, you mentioned men and their journey with sexual abuse and kind of being uncommon in society, but it's not uncommon, it's just uncommonly discussed in
Exactly.
society, whereas the data and your own personal experience would dictate that is something that's very prevalent that goes
Mhm.
on. What other stigmas do you see in and around your practices, and how does that come with society, and how do you navigate those stigmas with the people that you're helping?
Mhm. There's a lot of stigma with aging women for whatever ridiculous reason this may be. There's a lot of stigma with women over, I mean, right now I live in the US, and there's more and more of the younger generation that by the time they reach 30 years old, they are thinking that they're going downhill.
Yeah,
And this, I hear it repeatedly and repeatedly. And like, what are they thinking? In your 30s, you're already feeling that you're going downhill. Be careful what you wish for, because what we manifest, it
yeah,
comes a reality. That
yeah,
that's for sure. So it's concerning, to be honest with you, Gary. And when it comes to aging women, especially aging women, we live in a society here that you are not supposed to age. You are not supposed to show your age. You're not supposed to have wrinkles on your face. And I feel tremendously for all women that submit to these practices, to this stigma, to this indoctrination that you're supposed to be young forever. No, we're not supposed to be young forever. I have no interest in being young forever. I love growth. I love aging. Aging is beautiful. Aging is powerful. You have, I mean, you step into your power. That's what I consider aging to be. I have achieved more after in my 50s that I ever did in my 20s, 30s, and 40s combined. And whoever thinks that we're going downhill because I am 58 years old, going on 59 in less than 2 months, it's like, well, you got another thing coming, bro, because not this one, not this Puerto Rican lady, that is for sure. I mean, I've been dancing for 40 years. I'm still teaching group fitness instruction at age 58, and it's a beautiful thing. And no, things are meant to change. We are beings of change, and the approach as a teacher that I had 20, 30 years ago is not the approach that I'm going to have today, because bodies change, and I want consistency. I don't want to be in this denial that, oh, I am going to teach a Zumba class like I used to when I was 37. It's not real. I have wear and tear. I'm a massage therapist. This body has high mileage, for crying out loud. So it's about readjusting to our needs and what works for us. And this is when aging becomes beautiful, instead of being stigmatized, instead of being demonized, and stop glorifying plastic surgery, liposuction. Oh my God, my body is changing. Yeah, it's a natural process, or that our bodies change. I mean, I had a six pack in my 20s. I have no damn six pack now, and I'm happy. I'm totally blessed and grateful that my movement is my medicine, because movement is medicine. The great philosopher Hippocrates, no, he was the father of medicine, Hippocrates. He used to believe that with massage therapy, physical activity, great eating habits, music, rest, and fresh air, your body will stay in a healthy state. He was right. He was right. He is right still to this day. He is right. The more physical activity we have, the better we will feel from the inside out. And how important is physical activity, even for clarity of mind, even for mental illnesses, even as a distressor, to calm our anxiety levels down. That's how vital physical activity is, because it's not only the sense of going to the gym and doing 2 or 3 things and you're done. No, it goes much further than that. And this is why aging is stigmatized, for whatever ridiculous reason that may be. I believe aging is beautiful. I believe aging is powerful. I believe aging is something to embrace rather than deny it. And I believe that the better we age, I mean, the better we feel as we age, the more this journey is helpful and effective in our lives. I don't have a problem with aging. I never had a problem with aging. And that, ironically, I learned with my mother, actually, that she couldn't give two hoots about aging. She was just fine. And my mother's 93 years old, and I have more gray hair than she does. And she never dyed her hair in her life. So thank you, Mom, for the beautiful genes. But yes, yes, absolutely. Aging is beautiful. And there's cultures where people aging become masters.
Yeah.
They are admired. They are, and for all the right reasons. So yeah. Hey, US people. Hey, cultural here, cultural people in the Americas, get a grip, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Snap out of it and age gracefully, please. Yeah.
I love that. I really love that. I love what you said about manifesting, the power of manifesting. And if you believe one thing and drive towards that, you're going to get that. So if you
Oh,
have a whole
yes.
bunch of noises in your head that are not serving you, that are not in a positive light, then you're going to have some struggles there. I'll tell you a funny story. And it's only funny over time. When I was 26, I used to play squash with a work colleague of mine,
Yeah.
and he was 52. He was, I recall it, he was double my age, fit man. We played twice, two, 3 times a week at lunchtime and work. And
Mhm.
one day he's kind of quiet as we're driving to the squash court. And I said, what's wrong? And he says, yeah, just a guy I know, not a good friend, but a guy I know just passed away, and I can't remember what it was, if it was a heart attack or cancer or something, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And I said, and I believed at the time as a 26-year-old, I said, well, you're at that age, that's going to happen around
Right.
you. And he was such a nice, polite man, but I could feel him staring at me as I was driving, like as if, did you bash your head in the shower this morning, you clown? I'm only 52, and as I get towards that age and stage in life, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's probably one of the dumbest things that I said. But I had no idea because the concept of time, so that goes back to the 30-year-olds thinking that in
Exactly.
some way they've already peaked and they're now in the decline phase. It's just
Yeah.
nonsense. And it was just so
Exactly.
naive. And now that I think about it, it's brilliant comedy because it's just so far out there. And he, with his silence and with his stare, he told me that was, we're not going to speak about that again. And then that was the way that I was going forward. Just so incredible. But that investment of time and effort and energy in yourself and what is good for you and what is going to serve you going forward and hopefully what is inspirational for other people is just, it's so commendable. And I'd love to kind of explore that a wee bit more before we finish off today, because we didn't even get a chance to talk about the book. So we're going to have to do this again. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Before we end for today, I've so enjoyed today's chat. Where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me at www.woundedhealer.us. And to all of our listeners, I am offering a 1 to 2 hour complimentary holistic life coaching session.
Wow.
This is my gift to all of the listeners, and I'm so thankful for being here. So yes, contact me. I am here to serve. Let's meet in Zoom. We know that we can connect from all over the world, and this is not a problem, but I would love to connect with you. I would love to help you because when there's a will, people, there's always a way. Don't give up. Keep on going. You got this. I promise you that. And of course, most than anything, don't do it alone. Definitely.
100%. Blanca, thank you very, very much for joining me today. This has been
Thank you
absolutely
for having me. Thank you for having me, Gary. This has been phenomenal. So thank you so much for having me. What an honor.